What if I told you there's a moment, a small sacred instant just before he reaches his climax, when you hold more power over his heart than at any other time, a moment when it's not only about giving him pleasure, but about making him feel something unforgettable, not just desire or heat, but a kind of emotional depth so powerful it leaves a lasting mark. If you use this moment with care, you can create a connection that stays with him long after it's over. Most women aren't aware of this chance, not because they don't care, but because nobody have explained it to them. But the women who do know, they stay with him in ways that others don't. They leave something behind in his heart that no one else quite touches. Because intimacy isn't only about physical closeness. There's a deeper part. It's emotional. It's mental. Sometimes it even feels spiritual. And it's in those final seconds, right before he releases, that a man is most open, most vulnerable, and most emotionally reachable. It's like a quiet door opens inside him, one that's rarely unlocked, not even by himself. That is the moment when your presence, your voice, and your energy can change everything. Not just the experience, but the way he remembers it and the way he remembers you. Many people think climax is just physical, just nerves, tension, and biology. But that's not the full story, not for a man who is longing for more. For him, it's also a break in the armor. It's when the walls fall. It's when his guard drops, even if just for a second. And in that second, your words can have a deep impact, not just to excite him, but to shape what the moment means. If you lean in with your lips close to his ear and whisper something honest like, "You drive me wild. I've never felt this way before," you're not only turning him on, you're changing the meaning of the moment. You're giving him something he'll carry with him, something that goes way beyond pleasure. Those words, they tell him something he doesn't often hear, that he's not just doing it right, but that he's reaching you in a meaningful way. Underneath all his masculine strength and the pressure to perform, there's a part of every man that wants to feel that. He wants to know that he's not just being seen as sexy or strong, but that he's moving something deep inside you. When he hears that, while his body is overwhelmed, his breath short, and his skin alive, your words don't go through his brain, they go into his heart. They become part of his emotional memory. Suddenly, it's not just a physical act. It becomes a moment that stays with him, even when he's not trying to remember. And that's how real bonding happens. That's how you go from just being another experience to being someone he can't forget. Many women don't realize how much influence their voice carries in those seconds. They stay quiet or stick to usual sounds because they don't know that one real sentence can shift his entire world. But the women who speak from real emotion, not from what they think he wants to hear, those are the ones who stay in his heart long after the moment is gone. That one sentence, it's not a game. It's not just flattery. It's recognition. It's a sign that says, "I see you. I feel you. You matter right now." It tells him that it's not just about his body, but about the way he makes you feel in yours. That his presence didn't just touch your skin, it touched your spirit. That he didn't just reach your body, he reached something private, something only you can offer. This awakens something old and deep in him, a part of him that wants to matter, that wants to be the man who changes a woman's inner world, not just her outer body. He wants to feel powerful, not through control or pressure, but through your surrender to the moment, to the feeling, to him. Now imagine what happens when you say those words softly, like a whisper, close to his neck or ear. He doesn't just hear them, he feels them. They run through him. His heart beats faster, not just from climax, but from realizing that he's undone you, that you've let go in his arms, that you trust him enough to fall into that space. Men rarely talk about it, but they remember it for the rest of their lives, because men don't form deep bonds from climax alone. They bond through meaning, through knowing that what they did, the way they touched, the way they moved, it landed. It meant something. It stirred something powerful enough in you that you had to say it out loud. That's what creates emotional ties. That's what makes him miss you, not just your body, but everything you bring into the moment. And here's the beautiful part. When you speak like that, not from a script, but from your heart, you're not being weak, you're not needy, You're a woman who understands her effect, who knows how she feels and isn't afraid to say it. That's not a trick. That's real magnetism. It's something no toy or technique can compete with. He won't just leave that moment feeling good. He'll leave feeling marked in the most beautiful way, like something inside him has been branded by memory, branded by you. And next time he sees you, his body will react instantly. His chest will tighten, his pupils will grow, his soul will lean in because he remembers more than the sensation. He remembers the meaning. That's the difference between a fling and a connection, between just being with someone and being bonded. Many women wish for loyalty, commitment, love, but men don't stay just because of beauty or chemistry. They stay for how they feel in a woman's presence. And in that split second before he reaches the edge, you have a rare chance to show him, to let him know he's not just desirable, he's needed. He's the one who brought you here. No one else ever has. And that, it's not just attractive, it's sacred. It's soul to soul. But to give him that, you have to be present, not acting, not caught up in your mind. You have to feel it truly, because he'll sense the difference. He knows when it's genuine. He can feel when it's real. And that's what stays. That's what keeps him coming back, not just for your body, but for the connection you create. So next time you're in that breathless, heated space, right before he finishes, remember the power you carry. Use your voice, not just to react, but to speak. Let him know what he's really doing to you. Not the polite version, the honest one. The one that says, you don't just turn me on, you touch something deep in me. That's how a man falls. Not for the act, for you. Because you gave him more than pleasure, you gave him meaning. And meaning, that's what stays with a man, not just for one night, but often for a lifetime. There's a moment during intimacy when time almost slows. His breath hitches, his muscles tighten, the world fades. And in those final breathless seconds, time stretches. If you dare to look into his eyes and keep your gaze there, you create something few people ever do. You give him something powerful, something unforgettable. In that hour, because looking into his eyes at the peak isn't just bold, it's honest. It breaks down walls. It strips away noise and habit and makes everything real. Most people turn away during that time. They shut their eyes. They get lost in the rush. But when you stay, when your gaze meets his and doesn't let go, you become the calm in his storm. You ground him. You tell him without words, I'm right here. I see you. I want this. I want you. In that exact moment, right before release, his mind stops thinking. His guard disappears. His body takes over. But if your gaze stays steady, if your eyes say, I'm not afraid of this, you open something inside him, something deep, something he may have never felt before. Your eyes don't judge. They don't turn away. They say, I can take all of you, especially now. That's rare. That's not surface. That's sacred. And sacred moments like that, they don't fade. They become part of him, part of his memory, part of the reason why he feels drawn back to you, not just because of how it felt, but because of how it meant something. Oxytocin is the same natural chemical that connects mothers to their babies and partners to each other. But during intimacy, especially at the height of it, this reaction becomes much stronger. If you connect with him in that space, truly connect, not as a performance or a way to attract him, but with your genuine presence and real emotions, then you're no longer just being physical, you're creating something powerful. He stops being just in his own body and begins to enter into yours emotionally too. That's what makes the difference between just touching and truly bonding, between a memory that fades away and one that stays with him for a long time. But you need to understand, this isn't about staring intensely. It's not a battle. It's not about trying to overpower him or trying too hard. It's about showing him that you are just as present, just as caught in the moment, just as open and willing to be truly seen as he is. It's about letting your own softness and openness come through your eyes, letting him know you're not pretending, not playing a part. You're in this moment completely with your body and your heart. And when he sees that, when he notices your pupils growing wide, when he feels the emotion behind your eyes, when he knows you're looking at him like he's the only person who's ever mattered, something deep inside him changes. Something strong, something real begins to soften, because yes, this connection is physical, but it's emotional too. Most men go through life being looked at, maybe admired or wanted, but rarely truly seen. People love the version of him they picture in their minds, the role he plays in their story. But in those few seconds when everything else disappears and only the two of you remain, your eyes can offer something that nothing else ever has: recognition. You're not just with him, you're seeing him. Not just his body, not just the idea of him, but the real person, the real soul underneath. And here's something most people never understand. Real emotional safety for a man isn't always soft or gentle. Sometimes it's bold. It's the knowing that he can bring you everything, his fire, his wildness, his hunger, and you won't pull back. You won't run. You'll still be right there, solid, unshaken, still looking at him like he truly matters. That's what allows him to surrender. That's what makes him fall, not apart, but deeper into you. The physical release may come, but the real release is the emotional connection. And once he experiences that, once he's looked into your eyes and seen you truly stay when he was at his most raw and exposed, he won't forget it. He won't forget you. You've done something most women don't even think to do. You didn't just share his body. You embraced all of who he is. You stayed grounded even as his strength melted in your presence. And that's not just attractive, that's unforgettable. That's rare, that's something legendary. So the next time you're with him like that, when you feel everything rising, when you know the moment is building, don't turn away, stay. Let him see you. Let him know that this moment isn't just happening to you, but with him. Let your eyes say the words your mouth doesn't need to. Let your gaze tell him, I'm not afraid of your passion. I want to experience it with you. Because here's something important to remember. A man may not recall every lover he's had, or every kiss, or every name, but he will always remember the eyes that truly looked into him when he was completely vulnerable and still chose to stay. And now let's talk about something small but powerful: his name. There's something deeply ancient and meaningful about saying someone's name during passion. It's not just a label. It's a symbol. It's a reminder that he is here with you, that you're fully aware of him, not just physically, but emotionally too. You're not somewhere else in your mind. You're fully present. And when you whisper or softly cry out his name, not in a fake or forced way, but in a way that says, you are the one I want right now, you do something much more than excite him. You give him a memory. You place your voice directly into the part of his mind that doesn't just register pleasure, but also stores meaning. His name in your voice in that moment when you're breathless, trembling, fully immersed, it tells him that this isn't just physical. It's personal. It's emotional. It's him being chosen, not just any man. Because men often feel like they're being generalized. They hear sounds that could be for anyone. They feel desire that doesn't feel specific. But when you say his name with real warmth, real feeling, real attention, it becomes meaningful. It becomes something he won't forget. That's what men really want. Not perfection, not performance, but the deep sense that they stirred something so strong inside you that you had to call out their name. That's the type of bond that stays even when the night is over. Otherwise, it could have been anyone, just sounds, just another moment. But when you say his name, not out of habit, not because you think you're supposed to, but because you genuinely feel it, something clicks inside him. He becomes more alert. His chest opens up. Suddenly, the whole moment becomes deeply personal. The pleasure becomes stronger. And you become more than just a woman to him. You become someone who truly sees him. You're no longer just someone he shared a night with. You're the woman who looked beyond the physical and touched something deeper inside him, something even he may have forgotten was there. That kind of shift may be sensual, yes. It might make him react in new ways, but more importantly, it stays with him. It marks not just his skin, but his heart. Today, many men walk around feeling unnoticed. They pretend to be strong, They act like nothing affects them. They carry stress and hide their feelings. They keep showing up, acting fine, staying silent. But in those private moments, when he's exposed, when his breathing is uneven, when his mind starts to drift, your voice saying his name with tenderness, hunger, or even need does something powerful. It reaches the parts of him that feel like no one sees them. It tells him, even without words, you matter. You're the one doing this to me. That kind of message doesn't come often. Even if he can't put it into words, he feels it. This isn't about being loud or dramatic. It's not about pretending or acting. It's about something simpler and far more real. It's about allowing yourself to feel and letting that feeling bring his name to your lips. Maybe you whisper it when your breath catches. Maybe it slips out as your body tenses. Maybe it comes so softly that only he hears it. But when it's honest, it reaches him. It might tremble off your tongue as you pull him closer. It might come out as a soft cry when you want him even deeper, not just inside your body, but inside your spirit. However it comes, if it's from truth, it touches him in ways that physical movements never could. Because right before he finishes, his brain is filled with dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals that create pleasure and emotional bonding. And what he hears during that flood, what his ears pick up in that storm, stays with him. It becomes part of his memory, so that if your voice carries his name with love, with passion, with depth, he doesn't just experience your body, he hears something deeper. You're not just with me physically. You're part of this whole moment. You're inside every bit of this experience. You're not only touching his skin, you're shaping his memory. You're attaching the strongest feeling of physical pleasure to a powerful emotional memory of you, not just as a woman, but as someone who reflects his strength, his power, his worth. And here's something else. A lot of women hold back. They overthink. They worry they'll come across too emotional, too intense, too open. But those real, raw moments, those are where the real magic lives. That's not where lust lives. That's where memory lives. That's where something unforgettable begins.